So for everyone that takes part in the Gym Owners Network, as the admin for the group and a fellow gym owner, I just want to thank you for your participation in the group. I'm hoping you find it useful. I'm hoping you find it a place where you can safely, feel safe to come and ask questions and share resources with other gym owners. Like the best case scenario for me is that everyone is able to help more members and everyone's able to have some financial success in their gym and some type of work-life balance where you get to spend time with your friends and family and stuff as well. This question, I thought it like aligns with that. A great question this week. Hey, Steve, you seem relatively calm and composed. How do you stay like that around stressful situations running a fitness facility with staffing issues or member complaints? So I wanted to write down a couple of notes here because it's definitely not one thing. And I want to also just lead by saying this I feel like is a bit of a muscle, as in the ability to manage stress and make decisions and things, I think is something you get better at with repetition and practice. And yeah, it's something that I'm going to continue to try and improve on. But I appreciate the compliment. I hope that that sort of calming influence is a positive one around my staff. I'm hoping that my family and my staff feel more confident in my ability if I'm not sort of flying off the handle and quick to anger. I'm hoping that it's nicer. I'm nicer to be around, and the atmosphere at work and at home is a bit more enjoyable if I can be a bit more composed. So that's why I try and do it. How I do it, the first thing I try and do is breathe. And it sounds ridiculous, but I think as a challenge kind of arises, the first thing to do is actually just give yourself a moment rather than just responding on impulse, the burst like rubbish that comes to your head. If that jumps out of your mouth, I think you're going to have a problem. So the first one is just take a moment and have a second to kind of breathe and get your composure. Number two is I try and really clarify what the challenge or the problem is. And I think in a lot of cases, it's not that obvious. So sometimes if you think of like an injury, for example, if you went to a physiotherapist and you walk in and you say, I've got a sore back, through further investigation, they might find that you have like a tight hamstring, or they might find that you've actually got a bit of a pelvic tilt or something, which is causing your back to hurt. So before I start to try and figure out a solution or, problem solve or, anything that might happen after that, I want to try and get clear on what is the problem that we're trying to actually solve here. And that sometimes requires more questions or more sort of investigation. Number three, I always find that like walking and blood flow and oxygen is great for sort of creative thought and stimulating like some innovative or some type of problem solving sort of energy. So I'll often leave my office, I'll go and get some fresh air, I'll walk and the best ideas come while I'm actually moving. Number four, I like to consider, who in my mentor or support network might have some feedback. And rather than sort of just, going around in circles based on my own experience or lack of, I might try and tap into someone who has more experience than me and say, hey, this is the scenario. What do you think? And that might involve, heading for a walk with them. It might be coffee. It might be having a beer or something like that. What are we up to? Number five, I try and think about my team. So once I've identified the challenge and the actions we need to take, I'm considering like who in my team is good at this stuff, who could potentially help me to action something or to make change or to sort of improve this situation. So it's helping me to feel I guess composed and less stressed because I have a bit of a mental framework of how I'm going to handle all problems and challenges, like these steps that I'm sort of giving you. And I guess at the back of my head, it's nice knowing that at the end of the day, in a lot of cases, I don't actually have to fix this all by myself. There's people that can sort of provide direction or advice, or even take the challenge off my plate, and might be better, experienced, or better equipped to actually handle it themselves. Number six, I think I'm up to number six, would be like gratitude. So I try and start the day with 3 gratitudes. I think about the things in my life that I really enjoy, the things that are going well, that are like working. And I think that helps to just add some perspective. As a business owner, as a parent, you're going to face challenges throughout the day. And I think if you start on that negative email or something like that, it sort of affects your output and your ability to kind of function at your best throughout the day. So I always start with gratitudes. And I find that gives me like a strong, grateful foundation for which or a lens for which I see the rest of the day. If I start in gratitude and a challenge arises, my perspective and my optimism and my belief in myself is higher as I face that challenge than it would have been if I sort of just started with someone else dictating, what the negative solution or something could be. What are we up to? Number 7. I think, the quality of the people you surround yourself with affects your stress level and your happiness level. Quality of your relationships, and are these people supportive of you? Are they genuinely interested in you? I also consider topping up the bank account. I think it's like Michael Phelps, the Olympian swimmer, that talks about he used to look at a workout as investing into the bank account, because he said if you get to an event, no one else was doing like 8 events in one go. So he expected that was going to fatigue his body far more than someone doing 1 event or 2 events at the Olympics on their own. So what he said is you had to start investing into the bank account. You had to start doing these sessions and the nutrition required and the mindset coach, and you had to just keep investing into your bank account so that when you actually got to the Olympics to compete in 8 and win 8 gold medals, a record in history, the actual money is already in the bank account. It's not a fluke. It's based on the stuff you'd already put in there. And for me, that bank account is the books I read, it's the podcasts, it's the YouTube clips, it's the business coaches I have. And it's making sure that I continually invest into not only like that positive headspace, but I continue to grow myself and my skill set, but also my sort of experience level. So yeah, to sum up, I know it's a little bit long-winded. I apologize for that, but I hope it helps. Great question. How do you stay calm and composed as a gym owner, when others feel are so stressed and they take home their challenges and they're at barbecues complaining about their lifestyle and the financial. Like, that's one way to do it, and it's definitely not for me. And it's something that I wasn't born with. It's definitely a skill set. But if that helped, I worked my way through that model step by step, starting with breathing, clarifying the problem, and then I find knowing that I have the model keeps me calm, but also having steps in there where I can get other people involved, and just following a process is far less stressful than trying to come up with some magic sort of solution that you've never done before. So that's what I would recommend. Good question.